Welcome to the Xendat Data and Analytics Deep Dive, where we, really get into the nitty-gritty of fascinating topics. We've got some research here about ontologies in chemistry and how they're like the key to making data fair, findable, accessible, all that good stuff. And you're clearly someone who likes things efficient. So let's jump right in.
It's a really interesting area, for sure. I think a lot of people hear ontology and think it's going to be over their heads, but it's really just about bringing some order to the chaos of information.
Totally. It's like, imagine trying to find a specific book in a library, but there's absolutely zero organization, a nightmare. And that's kind of what dealing with chemical data can feel like sometimes, wouldn't you say?
It's a perfect analogy. Like a scientist is searching for information, right, about a very specific molecule. But the data is scattered everywhere, different databases, different formats. It's a mess. So that's where ontologies come in. They're like dictionaries, but for computers, creating a common language that these systems can all understand.
So it's kind of like a universal translator, helping computers make sense of all this complex chemical data.
Exactly. Think of something like ChEBI, the chemical entities of biological interest ontology. It's used to classify literally millions of chemical compounds, which is incredibly valuable for researchers in drug discovery, environmental science, you name it.
So it's more than just like a giant list of chemicals. It's about understanding the relationships between them.
Exactly. And the article you sent mentions semantic interoperability, which sounds very jargony, but it's about linking all that chemical data in ChEBI to other databases. So think of it this way. ChEBI is a bridge. It connects to something like the Human Metabolome Database. And suddenly, scientists can understand how a molecule structure, which is in ChEBI, might actually impact human health, which is found in this other database.
Wow, that's amazing. Like putting together pieces of a giant puzzle.
Precisely. And this is where things like the NFDI4Chem project come in, which I know the article mentioned. They're doing really important work to make this vision of truly shareable and accessible chemical data a reality.
Yeah. I'm starting to see how this could lead to some major breakthroughs. Can you give an example of how, like, in a practical sense, this might impact actual research?
Absolutely. Let's take drug discovery. I mean, right now, it can take years and tons of resources to identify and test potential new drugs. But just imagine if.
Imagine if, like, bam, they could just use these ontologies to instantly access all the data from past research, right? Potentially skipping years of trial and error.
Yeah, it would be huge. We'd be talking about way faster drug development and, of course, getting those life-saving treatments to people who need them, like, way sooner.
It's amazing to think about the real-world impact. It's not just data organization. It's unlocking possibilities we didn't even know existed.
Exactly. And there are so many other ontologies out there doing fascinating things in chemistry. Take ChemOnt, for instance. You could think of it as ChEBI's cousin, in a way.
Yeah.
And it's used in a tool called Classifier.
Classifier. Okay, now that sounds kind of cool. Some fun chemistry app or something. What does it actually do?
Well, I mean, it kind of is, in a way. It uses ChemOnt to automatically classify chemical compounds. So picture this. A scientist has a molecule, right? They plug the structure into Classifier and boom, it tells them everything. Key characteristics, functional groups, categorizes it based on the chemical structure. Instantaneously.
So it's like instead of spending hours analyzing each molecule, scientists can just get these rapid-fire insights.
Precisely. And the amount of time and effort that saves is huge, especially when you're talking about these massive data sets they use in research.
You know, as we're talking about these different ontologies, I'm noticing this theme of like everyone needing to be on the same page, language-wise, digitally speaking, when it comes to chemistry, I mean.
That's a great observation. And it highlights the importance of an ontology like ChemInt. It's all about standardizing how we represent chemical information in a way that computers can understand.
So like making sure everyone's using the same language, the same definitions, so to speak, to avoid misinterpretations and errors.
You got it. ChemInf is all about that consistency, ensuring accuracy. Imagine you're using, let's say, a molecular fingerprint, like in ChEBI, where you've got this string of characters that represents a molecule, one character off, and your calculations could be totally thrown off, leading to inaccurate results. ChemInt helps minimize those risks. It's about data integrity.
It's like this guardian of precision, then, in the digital chemistry world.
That's a great way to put it, because it means researchers can share data, run simulations, whatever it may be, and know they're all working from the same playbook.
Speaking of playbooks, the article also talked about the Allotrope Foundation Ontology, or AFO for short. How does that fit into this web of chemical data we've been talking about?
So AFO, that's interesting. It takes more of a holistic approach, I'd say. It's not just about the chemicals themselves. It's about capturing the entire context of an experiment. The equipment used, procedures, all of it, and obviously the substances involved too.
So if ChEBI and ChEMA are like the dictionaries defining the components, would you say that AFO is more like the instruction manual for how to actually use them in a research setting?
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to think about it. And while AFO might seem more geared toward industrial research, it really highlights something crucial about ontologies. It's not just about data, it's about making that data useful, making research reproducible, shareable. Those are essential ingredients for scientific progress.
It's really striking me how we've gone from talking about these specific chemical structures to like the whole research process itself.
It's all connected. And there's one more ontology I wanted to mention, actually, while we're on the topic, on to kin. This one's a bit more specialized. It focuses on chemical kinetics.
Chemical kinetics, okay. That definitely brings back some memories from my college chemistry days. Reaction rates, mechanisms, all that fun stuff.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. That's what Ondekin is all about. Representing those reactions in a way that computers can understand.
Yeah.
Like creating a computer program, basically, for a chemical reaction. You put in the starting materials, conditions, and boom, it can predict how the reaction will unfold.
So it's like a virtual chemistry lab then, inside the computer. That's got to be incredibly helpful for predicting how different compounds might react with each other.
Exactly. And that really highlights a crucial point. Ontologies aren't just these abstract concepts. They're tools, powerful tools that can revolutionize research, drives innovation across all sorts of fields.
It really is like having this like crystal ball that lets you peek into the future of a chemical reaction. Wild.
Right. And when you start thinking about what that means, the applications, I mean, optimizing industrial processes, maybe even designing personalized medicine.
Hmm.
I mean, ontologies could be the key to unlocking all of that. Faster discoveries, more efficient, and ultimately just way more impactful research.
Totally. And there was something else in the article that really caught my eye, this idea of a semantic chemical data space. Sounds ambitious. What's that all about?
So picture this. It's like a central hub, a massive digital space, and all the chemical data, I mean everything, from everywhere, all meticulously organized,
Yes.
standardized, thanks to ontologies, and instantly searchable.
So like if you want to know the properties of some new compound, boom, it's right there. Or analyze decades of research on a specific reaction. Just like that.
Exactly, like a supercharged Google search, but specifically for this incredibly rich world of chemical knowledge. And the thing is, this isn't sci-fi. Ontologies are making this a real possibility. Seamless sharing, collaboration, all happening globally.
It's kind of amazing, actually, breaking down those barriers between different labs, research institutions, like one giant interconnected scientific community.
That's the idea. And the article really emphasized this whole collaborative aspect. Because the real power of ontologies comes from this interconnectedness, right?
Mhm.
They have to be able to talk to each other, allow information to flow freely across disciplines, across borders.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring when you think about it that way. Harnessing all that knowledge, the expertise of scientists all over the world.
Exactly. Creating this environment where those breakthroughs don't happen in isolation, but from this like symphony of data and shared insights.
Well, I've got to say, this deep dive has been pretty eye-opening. We started with this term ontologies that honestly a lot of people probably wouldn't even know and uncovered this whole universe of potential.
It's been a pleasure talking about it with you. It's all about asking those questions, right? Why does this matter?
Exactly. And to everyone listening, we hope this has sparked your own curiosity about the future of chemistry and the power of information. Until next time, keep asking those questions and diving deep into the world around you.